the structures, the
Oh, wait, we're
geology,
at
the general
25.
environment at the
The dive
deepest
plan
parts of the
said-
monuments.
dive plan said
Some of the key
15, and at
partners in
breakfast
this
people said
effort are
15.
NOAA's National Marine Fisheries,
Well, yes,
NOAA's
definitely
Marine National
not
Monument
3
Program,
minutes.
and
5
NOAA's
to 7
Deep Sea
minutes.
Coral Research and Technology Program.
Okay.
So, you know, aside from this exciting mission that we're on just to explore, the way the Okeanos Explorer operates is also unique. All our operations are community-driven. This is quite different from the sort of thing that a marine scientist who is a principal investigator on a research proposal that goes to perhaps the National Science Foundation or NOAA or a variety of other funding agencies operate, where the principal investigator plans the entire mission, perhaps in collaboration with someone from a different discipline who's a co-principal investigator, goes to sea, collects data, collects samples, and then these are under moratorium for a couple of years while the participants on the ship, all the scientists get a chance to do their research and write up their results. What happens here for the Okeanos Explorer is that NOAA reaches out to the entire scientific community, offers an opportunity to put input into the planning of the mission and the dives themselves. We have a teleconference in which as many as 150, 200 people can call in, participate, make suggestions about what might be the objectives. Dives are planned by people who will submit proposals for particular dives, and then the group gets together again, picks out the ones that seem to be the most appropriate based on the priorities for NOAA's ocean research and exploration group, and choices are made. We set the dive schedule, and that's how we operate and which dives we choose. Today we're diving on a large fault scarp, in other words, a vertical wall that is the result of down-faulting of a portion of the seafloor and uplifting of the adjacent part. We're approaching the wall of this scarp, and it is about 646 meters or so tall. So parts of it are almost vertical. About 80 degree slopes. 90 degrees is absolutely vertical. The lower part of the slope has a slope of about maybe 50 degrees or so. Right now, as you can see in the video, we have a big rock pile, and that's the result of rocks falling off this cliff and collecting at the bottom. And these rocks provide a good attachment surfaces for some of the benthic animals that have been being described as we move closer and closer to the wall. And we have had a change of pilots and navigators and videographers, and as soon as they're ready, we'll get them to introduce themselves.
All right, guys, let's talk
usually when we do these introductions, there's one member of the remotely operated vehicle team who is not in view to you and does not usually get introduced, and this poor soul is down in the winch room below decks where it's about 100 degrees and is monitoring the winch, which is the big spool that is mechanically operated that controls the cable that's attached to the Sirius vehicle, which is the one that provides you a view of the ROV close to the seafloor, and that's on your feed 2. So the middle of the 3 feeds on the bottom of your computer screen just below the image of the seafloor. And that guy sits down there, is not there the entire time. He gets to come out of the hot room every once in a while, but he does do frequent checks to make sure that the cable is spooling out appropriately and carefully. And I
Watch lead, we're all settled up here.
We are settled up.
Yep.
And our pilot perhaps would like to introduce himself and the rest of the group.
Sure. So we're all from the Global Foundation for Ocean Exploration. The whole team up front here and down in the winch room. Thank you for mentioning the winch room. Something rarely seen on tours or video, but that is one of the most important parts of the system. So I am Carl McCletchy, the pilot, driving Deep Discover ROV. On my left, we have
Dave Casagrande, navigator.
Then going right.
And Andy Lister on co-pilot. Tara Smithy on video.
And then in the back row.
And Annie White on video clipping.
All right, and that's the team bringing you this dive along with our scientists in the back row.
Thank you
So
very much.
what should we look at?
Well, what we want to try to do is get to this really steep wall.
I think we're pretty much there.
Okay, Carl, as we go up, what we're looking for may be layered sequences or rocks in place. And
Pilot, you should be done moving.
if we can find an outcropping that has rocks, you know, just kind of right beneath it, it'd be great to try to get a sample.
Okay, so ones that fell down from in place. But these, what do you think of all these here? They're just
These
kind of
are
rubbly?
actually beginning to look as if they're more in place. The best thing to do perhaps is just go up a little bit and see if we
Okay.
can find a more of a steep wall with a few of the rocks right below it.
All right, we're on our way. Now, do you want to call in a 30-meter move on the
Sure.
Sirius setting?
So at 320 you want.
We can, I think 0.2 is good to make these go a little faster.
Yes, I agree.
Then we don't have to, we kind of know when it starts and stops so close. We don't have to worry about the delay in the ship too. I think that's nicer.
I will call it in.
Great.
Bridge, ROV nav.
So what we do is we move along the seafloor is the ship will move
Can we get a ship move,
in the
please?
direction
30
that
meters,
we hope
bearing
to complete the
320
dive in.
degrees at 0.2
And
knots.
the cable that is extending from the winch room down
Thank you,
to the
Chris.
Sirius vehicle
And now will you
will help pull the Sirius vehicle
zoom my
up
sonar
the
to
slope
maybe 10
toward
meters?
our
Yes.
So
scarp.
close here.
And then that
How do you
gives
like that game?
the ROV, the
It's a little
D2,
bright.
more slack to move around on the seafloor maneuver in order to be able to pick up samples.
Video
So I'm
snap
guessing
zoom on
we're
this
going to go
coral.
take a look at
Sure
this
thing.
on the rock.
Yes,
Ooh,
watch these.
several things.
I didn't see what we zoomed in on this morning, so please let me know if we've already seen it, and I can just move on.
Will do.
Go in a little tighter video.
This is something that we're probably going to hear from Scott France about, I'm guessing. Or Chris Kelly on shore.
That's full
As
zoom.
This is
Great.
a coral.
There's so little
This
current. I'm
looks
just kinda
like
hovering
an
here.
That's nice.
octocoral.
Current port to starboard.
So Scott ought to take this one. We got to get him off of his treadmill and over to the phone so he can talk about this guy.
I
I'm done
agree
on the
with you.
treadmill, Chris.
All right, if you come partial video, I'll sit
Roger.
down. Apparently
And this is a
one we wanna
bamboo
talk
coral
about.
for sure, and it's the first branched one that we've seen today.
So you
The
have
last
5
week, for
minutes
that
to
matter, we haven't been
Sirius
seeing many
session
corals.
for them.
And I'm trying to
Is
get
that
a good
assuming
look at the
7
polyps. So this one, yeah, you see, also has
That's,
those very
assuming
prominent
7
needles, like the one we saw a few, I don't know, half an hour ago.
Right.
And so the question is, the one that we saw half an hour ago was
So, yeah,
unbranched, and it may
if you
simply
can,
have been in an
okay,
age
yeah.
where it had not yet branched. So it's possible these are the same.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. I'm
Yep.
assuming it's probably close
Looks
to 5,
very
but-
similar.
Okay.
And
Going tight on the branch.
I'm not sure what it was down to the lower left.
So Scott, there's the long intertentacular spines, but there also seem to be chock full of, needles, sorry, but they seem to be chock full of sclerites in the stalk of the polyps.
Yep, absolutely. So that's very common, Chris. We usually point to the ones between the tentacles because they're the easiest to see, but there are lots. Well, there's a variable number of sclerites depending on the species, but some are just packed with them, and some have very few, and that's part of the We were all extremely excited when we saw one that had what we considered nematocyst batteries along the tissue, and I wonder if this is something similar. I think we also saw one in leg 1 this year in the Marianas.
Thank you.
Okay, video, whenever you're clear, I'll tilt down to...
Yeah, there is
something on the
something
bottom.
else
All right,
down
go ahead.
to the
All right.
left that
There it
we
is.
need
Little
to zoom
pine
on a
wood.
little bit.
I'm gonna spin if I can. There we go. All right, it's all you. It's a little bit in the shadow there.
It's all right. see what we can do.
I know you have skills.
And this is
Hey, Nav, what
Co-pilot,
was the
Rhino
speed of our
wave.
last move there?
Decimal
think.
2, and I think you're
Is that
moving.
right, folks on
I'm
shore?
kind of watching. I have a lot of heave. I'll let you know here shortly.
I'm seeing
Yeah.
sonar target
That is
consistently
correct,
close.
Patty. That is the crinoid.
Let's see on this
And the
next one.
echinoderms are related to the
So, I'll call
sea
that
stars
one.
and the ophiuroids. And unlike those, this one has the mouth oriented upwards away from the substratum and is basically a suspension feeder.
Yeah, that's
So
5
it has
scans
tube
closer.
feet that would be on those little side arms that you're seeing there. The
Co-pilot,
pinnules
as
are
soon as
small
I
tube feet
get
that
this Zoom, I'll
flick
just
food
take off my
particles
head.
into grooves that run along the arm
Okay.
and channel the food
yeah,
down
just
towards
take
the
a look.
mouth.
We're okay
Yeah.
as far as getting over you, but yeah,
Fantastic.
that's
Yeah, no,
30
we're
meter
just
move.
trying to
Yeah.
nail down the
This
timing.
is
Okay,
some of
pilot,
the
if we
steepest
can
terrain.
move on.
Yeah, moving on.
We're just Nav and I are just talking about layback.
Yeah. This is steeper than most things we've seen in the past 2 cruises, so
Okay.
you
Keep
definitely
an eye out.
want to keep me ahead.
Yeah.
It's always bad.
Yeah, I'd say
Fortunately,
we have a 5-minute layback.
Yeah, I
here.
agree with 5. Winds and currents are going to bring us off the cliff if
That's
the ship
goodness.
has any issues.
Okay, I'll try
Oh,
to
we
back
have a
up a little.
jelly.
Magic. On your mark.
Let me know when it's
Think.
good. 1 second. You can go for it.
All right.
There we go. Black background. No, it's too close.
Hey,
Go for
Nav,
it.
could you
That's
draw
all right.
me a horizontal line, basically where that guy is?
There he is.
Where the end of the move is?
No.
No, where the incline is.
Oh, sure.
That's a nice
Buddy.
jelly.
Yes, I wish you would stay centered. Ooh.
Ooh.
Is that what you want, co-pilot?
Yes, thank you so much.
Right.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay, we'll try.
Yeah, this is
You see
a
it from
beautiful
Alright, he's inside the
jellyfish.
camera.
It's probably a
time to go, Jeff.
hydromedusan jellyfish.
Alright.
And what that means is that it is related
bad.
to
It's
the
pretty-
hydrozoa
All right. Thank you.
rather than the true jellyfish, which
I'll
are
give
the
you a couple more
scyphozoa.
seconds.
So hydrozoa,
he
we've
was,
seen
he's
some of
gone.
these
It's taken off.
benthic polyps that we put in that class.
got some nice-
They go through what's called an alternation of generations, where one generation will be the benthic polyp form. They will then asexually produce these pelagic
So that's,
forms. These ones are
like
sexual
a
reproducers
18-meter
producing
line.
sperm and eggs. The product of that
Thank you.
will settle back down onto the substrate. At least that's a general pattern. There's lots of variations, so some may be always jellyfish-like, some
But
may
you
be
can
always
also find the mouse
benthic,
and do it
some
if
may
you,
alternate.
if you have
Oh
a
yeah, it's on.
navigator or something.
Is it on my? Oh, it's right here.
It should be to your left.
I got you.
But,
So-
you got to take it from me first, so.
That you don't have to now, but that's your option too.
Sure.
Particularly for training a navigator or something, you want to look out.
Okay.
I think I've even seen it here, so that I can do it, but that's kind of silly.
We have enough to worry about.
Yeah. Okay. Video. Let's get a zoom on this guy.
So that's the
Okay.
opposite current that I have in my notes
It's
here.
from starboard, yeah.
Yeah.
But I saw Dan was looking at a coral,
Beautiful.
and it had swept a full, more than a half circle
Beautiful
around
anemone.
as it was dragged around in the current.
Anybody
So I
on
think
shore want to make a comment about
current
this
had changed it
lovely
today.
specimen?
Interesting.
A great view, right?
Corals I don't think of as being able
on
to
its
adapt to that very
mouth.
quickly.
Yeah, it didn't look. It looked a little like it was damaged.
And after this, just bump ahead a little bit again, if you could for me.
Do we
pilot.
know what
Will
this
do.
is, people?
Okay, want to get the whole specimen video?
Yep.
Come up a tad.
So people are working on it right now. Stand by, and I think there's going to be some conclusions in the chat shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, are you happy with that video?
Give me just a couple seconds
Sure.
if we have it.
Yep.
You have it.
So
All right.
Tina Molitsova, who's at the Shirshov Institute of Oceanography in Moscow, she's an expert on a group of cnidarians called Cereanthids or tube anemones, along with a lot of other stuff, that Anthomastus we saw and black corals and you name it. But she thinks this is a tube anemone, which is really unusual because they typically live in sediment, but there are some apparently that live on rocks. And that's her best guess, but she's not sure. And what I think one of the things she was looking at was, if you saw those close-ups, you could see an inner ring of tentacles right around the mouth that are very small in the center of it, surrounded by the larger tentacles, and that's one of the features of the Ceriantherians.
Wow, thanks, Chris. Nope, that was, yes, Chris.
Yeah, you're definitely moving, because as I move, your camera's still down.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
also
based
giving a
on
little bump,
the
though,
fact
so you're
that
moving a
the
little bit
seafloor is
faster than me.
sloping away from us,
Yeah,
both
I
on
see
the
you
left and
from
the
80 to
right,
70.
we're
Yeah.
probably on local talus collection along this slope.
generally-
Almost in position
And that's
to
just
slow down.
material that
Your
has
ship
actually
should be
fallen
done moving,
off
so you have,
the wall of the scarp
when
that
did it
we are approaching.
stop?
There is a very
I'm not
strong
exactly sure. I think
return
it's
from
on
the
my map,
sonar
but,
from the
based
remotely
on
operated
time, the ship
vehicle
should have stopped
just to the
at,
northeast of the vehicle, and
14
I
after.
can't quite read
Okay.
the
Probably got
scale
2 more
on
minutes
the
to swing.
sonar.
Okay. I think I'm nice and stable here, though.
think
Yeah,
it's
plus this
got a
looks a little
big
bit
rock.
flat. Oh, except for that one. It's a
Ooh,
little-
can't tell.
I saw that in your sonar a minute ago.
yeah.
I'll get this whip and then go up to that.
Yeah, you
Not
have plenty
too
of time
far
right now.
Yep.
Yeah, ship is definitely stopped.
It's pretty much with this model, I have to come up so I can't really see the bottom well and just, move. Maybe I skipped a few things.
So what the pilot's
And then I
doing
loiter
now
here
is
while you're
maneuvering the
finishing your
ROV
move.
so that he can, I
So
think, get
maybe
a
20 meters
zoom
ahead of
on
you.
this
Yep.
long
getting this first.
stalk-like animal attached to the
So we
rock
do
in
skip
front of
stuff,
us.
but it lets us go faster. If we wanted to see everything,
There's
we have to move half the speed.
I think we have seen
So
this
to
one
make our
before,
target, and again, I'm not sure what the
but folks on
priority is,
shore will verify.
we will need to call a 30-meter move every 10 minutes.
Okay.
So have we seen this?
Did you
I believe
did
we
we talk
have.
to Watch Lead already this shift to find out if they
No,
were
I'll
target
talk
based
to
or
them. Yeah.
geology based or critter based?
It's a tough one.
Watch leads now.
Go ahead, watch it. Go ahead. Go ahead, Nam.
Yes. So
Watch
as you know, this is a pretty long trip up this hill. We can make it there if we really keep our pace up. We'll have to make a 30-meter move about every 10 minutes.
Have a bit more zoom.
But
Yeah.
just
I'm
trying to get a
stable now,
sense
I'm
of what the
sliding back
priority
before.
is in terms of reaching that waypoint versus
I don't
stopping,
hear anything, though.
spending time when we find things that are interesting or
So
somewhere in
whenever
between.
you're done with your shot,
All right.
Generally speaking, somewhere in between, but we have spent a lot of time on the
And coming
tailless
to a halt
pile
anyway.
at the bottom of the slope, so it would be helpful to move up
I
a
bet
bit
there's good
further
stuff on this
initially so that
Yeah,
we can
I-
get to outcropping rock.
Okay,
Thank you.
I agree. We're behind, so I'll try to keep the pace up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they would like to try to get there, so we should call in another move if you're ahead of him.
First, I'll look at
He
this
should
rock.
be stopping about now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let
what I'm
him-
thinking
let him push
now
out
is
just a
that
little bit.
Yeah.
we do want to get a sample as close to the bottom
What is that
of
thing?
the slope as we can, but we need to
It says
find
204 maybe on a stock.
a coherent outcropping
We'll
so
find out.
we know that the rocks are in place. We like to get a
Sponge.
sample from
Hard to
Oh,
say.
yeah.
close
yeah.
to the bottom of
Okay.
where
So
we
I think
find
you
that.
might
So
be
right, so you want something that hasn't
Well, at first I
rolled
thought it
down
was
the
the
hill.
swimming
You
hole
want
variant,
something
so.
that is from this part, correct?
Yeah, we would
video?
like to get something kind of deep
Zooming.
on the wall.
Okay.
So we have another sponge.
Spin to the left. The stock's going to
And
setting.
Chris, Shirley's out to lunch.
So they do want a sample.
Not usually, but right now she is. So can you tell us what this is?
So this is a real weird one. I'm not so sure I think I've seen a version of this from leg one, a yellow one, not a white one, if that makes any difference. And I believe it was collected on leg one too, sort of a bumpy, weird vase like this on a stalk.
Right.
Okay.
But I'd have to double check it.
Okay.
And we have no name for the sponge because we haven't seen the specimens yet. They're still on the ship with you folks.
Right. Okay. thank you anyhow.
I can spin a little to port to get the
Okay,
opening,
pilot,
maybe?
as soon as video
So
is
Sirius
finished.
should be stationary at this point.
Yeah,
so you
it
can
is.
do whatever you'd like.
We're stable.
Great. Oh, that's a 16-meter delta. It's pretty clear down here.
It is. Usually is below like
Yeah.
600 or so.
Unless you're in a volcano.
Okay, it's not really behaving here, video.
Interesting. Well, I'll get a quick establishing and then.
All right.
Nice view. Really high definition videos coming to you from a large camera situated right in front of the ROV, right in its center. And the pilot will
All right.
maneuver the ROV so that
Right.
the videographers
This
can
rock.
get good zooms to
Nice job,
document
Parth.
the animals that we see along the dive track.
Thank you.
So watch lead, pilot.
Go ahead, pilot.
You had said if there's a steep part, something falling off. We did just come to this. We just stopped at this very steep rock here.
That is
pretty
true. I'm
much
looking at the
vertical.
Sirius view, and I'm wondering if this whole block has fallen off the cliff more or less intact. It looks layered at the bottom, so probably sediment there. I don't see anything right here in view that looks as if it'd be coherent enough to pick up.
Yeah, there's a lot of sediment on the
There
bottom
was
of it,
something
yeah.
to the right.
There
that
was
made
there
it
was
look
some
more
material to the
promising.
right that was more consolidated. Yep.
I was thinking below
Yeah,
that
there's a-
crack, but I don't know if that's what you're looking for.
There is a huge shadow behind this block that we're sitting in front of on the sonar, so it looks like it's a separate chunk of the wall. Now, if we could get around to the right and see if there are any pieces of material below this boulder that might have
Okay.
fallen off of it.
From the
Something
backside, you
stuck
mean?
on the
On
front
the
of it.
backside, yeah, to the right.
Okay. Any interest in this stalk in the center of the screen first?
Always.
All right, let's get a quick zoom video. I'm just
Sure.
hovering here.
Oh, people on shore.
Okay,
Is
can I take
this another
It's fine,
sponge?
We'll come up. It's
You can actually see the attachment of this animal on the rock face. So do we have a comment?
I haven't heard anything from shore in a
That's
while.
nice video.
well.
Is anyone back on shore talking?
So,
Not a
Scott, did
sponge.
you want to talk a little bit about this one or
This is
not?
a coral.
I'm back in.
Okay.
We still want lasers on for it.
Yeah.
It looks actually like the ones we saw at the very beginning of the dive that had created little depressions around themselves as they move around in the current.
You're really
Yeah,
close
that's
to
correct,
the
Patty. And Scott France is sort of tentatively IDing it as the same genus, the Schizopathes, due to its similarity. This one, however, is mounted on a rock,
Yeah.
so it's a little bit different.
Right.
And I don't think it has quite the same morphology, so I think it could be a different species, perhaps in that same group or same genus. This is typical of a lot of black corals in that they grow on rocks, they attach to rocks, and if you look at the very base of it, you can see why it has the name black coral, because the skeleton is exposed all the way down where it attaches to the rock, and you can see that the skeleton is black.
Right.
Which is why they call these things black. It's not because the tissue is black, it's because the skeleton is black.
Right. Thank you, Chris. Very nice, pilot.
All right, whenever you're clear, video.
All right. Let me just get the base.
Okay.
There it is.
Also gives us a close view of the rock surface.
Tina Molodtsova has come in there, and she thinks it's in a different genus, Bathypathes, and she's even gone to possible species, Bathypathes alternata.
Okay.
That is very distinct possibility here, again, perhaps because it does look a little different than the previous one, but also it is attached differently to the substrate.
Right.
Okay, here's the back side of
Yeah.
the rock.
Okay. Not too many. Not too many small enough rocks to be able to pick up, unless the one at the very bottom of the screen is a possibility. Is that too big?
Yeah,
I'm guessing, yeah.
That's like we wouldn't be able to surface the RV with that one.
Okay, how about below this large rock that's at the bottom of the screen? Is there anything next to it on the seafloor?
Take a look.
Okay.
That's
oh,
actually
yeah.
getting pretty close down to the sponge we saw.
Okay.
It's just below us.
You see that elongate rock that's sort of sticking out to the right in the center of the lower part of the screen,
Yeah.
adjacent to the big boulder?
The kind of flat one there?
Yeah. Is it possible to get one of those?
I think so.
Or any, the ones to the left of the big boulder are too big, huh?
This one just below the lasers looks kind of flat and loose.
Okay.
Oh no, actually that's part of the big one. Never mind.
Oh,
There's
is
a
it?
shadow in it. Yeah.
Okay. So the one the lasers, the left lasers on
Yeah,
is
I thought
attached?
it had a shadow. I thought it was separate, but it's much bigger. Yeah, this little one stuck in the crack might be possible.
Okay. You think you could get in there?
That's the question.
Yeah.
Give it a try.
Do we have
Thank
any
you.
samples so far, Nav?
Thanks a lot.
No.
Copy.
Folks on shore, what do you think about trying to collect a rock here? Does this look attractive as a pilot tries to
Pretty
maneuver
far
in?
down.
Bob or Deb? This is the
Co-pilot, how are we
first big
doing on this?
coherent
Yes.
rock.
We're locked
Yes.
in position. We haven't moved.
Rock, please.
Okay. We'll give it a try.
Yeah, but that rock has a very interesting texture that
Yeah.
is either a massive coarse sediment or a very coarse plutonic rock.
Yep. I agree.
You're going to wedge your port skid between those?
Not between them. I was just hoping to touch.
And by the way, Patty, your descriptions of the rock
It was a
every
little too
day
far
that
down
I collected
before.
are
Now
very
I think
much
it's good.
appreciated.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
Okay, co-pilot, if you want to spin up hydraulics.
Absolutely. Are you thinking about putting it in the starboard rock box so we don't have to move anything?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Because the port one's touching.
Yeah.
Well, actually, is it okay to put it in starboard?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Our port box is very close to the rock next to us. Okay, we all set? You want to get Mini Zeus on the right screen?
Mini Zeus coming up. But I
Okay.
cannot do
Yeah.
too much with it for you.
You can rotate over to
I
me.
can rotate
Yeah.
over to you. How's that?
Our pilots are setting up to take
Looks
this
good, thank
sample
you.
by activating a whole bunch of different cameras so that they can get a parallax view
Skids slipping a little.
of where the manipulator arm is.
You're just moving
and
slightly.
The silver fingers that you see coming into view are about, that whole metal portion of the manipulator arm is about 9 inches long. So that gives you a sense of the scale. This is a fairly small rock. Looks like to be about maybe almost 18 or so centimeters long, and about 5 to 6 centimeters wide. It'd be tricky to get the manipulator arm in there because there's another boulder right in the way. But our pilots are wonderful, aren't they?
They are wonderful indeed.
And Carl is going to
Carl?
go grab this thing. That's Carl up there at the moment.
It is Carl.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Carl, who wants a sponge named after him.
Oh, does he? Species name?
I think so. Oh, I'd probably even like it better if it were a genus name.
I'm sure. Carliana.
Yeah.
Okay, we
Genus
won't
is
distract.
okay.
We called the Carls.
Yeah, it might
I don't know if
crumble.
That's moving.
It
Oh,
might.
you moved.
I wonder if it's attached to something very much bigger below the sediment.
God.
Oh,
It did
geez.
move.
It did move.
I'm going to try poking it first.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Let's
looks
just
so
poke
loose
it.
that I just tried it. But
Didn't move. Boy, that sure looked like it was just sitting pretty on the sediment surface, but
Well, like
I think it's loose, but it's
big.
buried in the mud and fairly big, yeah.
okay. Okay, so you want to try for a different one? Or?
Is that one to your lower left? Is that reachable? The one that's kind of nestled in there, or is that too deep?
Just carefully poking it so I don't upset the ROV.
Okay, if this one's too hard to pick up, we could try for something close by but different.
I'll give it one try here.
Okay.
Wow. Wow. I don't know. You think that's going to fit in the box?
No, co-pilot, will you tilt up my camera?
Yes. Coming up.
Well, do you like it?
It'll probably fit in the rock box, right?
Yeah, that's
It'll
where
fit in the
I was
rock box. Wait, you're on you're
Yeah,
on mute.
it's,
Go ahead.
Rock box is perfect.
It's actually
Oh
quite,
my gosh, look
quite
at that.
thin, actually. I think that's mostly mud.
Yeah,
You
I
think so?
it is too.
A slab.
think
We're
it's
getting a
two.
slab.
We're getting a slab, Bob.
Is that okay?
And Deb,
It's-
this looks
it's
great.
good.
Okay. Now the issue is, do I shake the mud off now and lose all visibility? Or do I let it slowly filter off in the rock?
Slowly filter off and lose
I
the
say slowly filter
Yeah,
off.
Really?
that's true.
You want me to bring you
dump
in
it in the
and
rock
board?
box.
Yeah, starboard in.
Starboard
That's
coming in.
fine. We'll get some sediment too. That'll be good.
Come on. There we go.
What power do you have on the manipulator at this moment?
More than 200 pounds at all times.
She
I'm
wa-
just
she
wondering
wanted to know
how-
on a 1 to
I'm
1 to
wondering
10.
how hard the rock is
That's all I got for you.
Okay.
on your scale of 0 to 10.
I see that one. I thought you meant the total weight.
Oh, no.
We were going for the simple answer.
Yeah.
Right, simple-minded.
Visibility is pretty bad. I think I'm pretty much over the box.
I think you're
Yeah.
slightly to the right, but over the box.
Yeah. Okay.
So the sediment's making it hard.
You agree? Oh, I see.
For
Yeah.
Yeah,
us
slide to the
yeah,
right
wait,
still.
see
yeah,
where
yeah,
the
you're-
manipulator
yeah,
is
yeah.
and whether it's actually
Okay.
over the box.
It looks like it's in there
it
now.
is.
Yeah.
Maybe it needs to go a little to the port.
There you
Okay.
Put it in.
Beautiful. just going to go ahead and head outboard with it.
Thank you.
Okay.
So
You're
what
clear.
what did you have dialed in there for the gripping strength?
5.
A 5.
Half.
Bob Stern, this is a rock.
Yeah, definitely a rock.
This is an igneous rock. That are a really indurated sediment, but I suspect we got a good one.
Get out of
We got a
here.
good one.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Oh, that was exciting. First rock. Yippee. So
Okay.
we are oriented. At
And your HVUs are
277
pulled down.
degrees heading.
I'll be very interested to see what it is.
Yeah, me too. 2445 meters. At 0037. Okay, folks. I get to take a look at this rock when it comes on board with a microscope that we have on the ship, and I can, if it's not too heavily covered with manganese oxide coating, I get a chance to see the interior of the rock and can determine what minerals
Okay, I'm going to take off now and
make
get
it
out
up,
of this mud.
and therefore we can
I'll head up
get a
hill
tentative
at,
rock name
330.
for this guy a little bit later today.
Already at 330. You have all your cameras. Everything looks good.
And this is our first specimen on this dive,
It is.
despite the fact that we have seen a never before seen living fish.
Yes,
and
well,
some unusual.
wouldn't have been able to get
critters.
it with a claw.
No.
A slurp gun, maybe, but not with a claw.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so we had a question from a student on shore, and I'm going to deflect this question. I'm going to deflect this question. Is that David sitting in co-pilot?
We have
Yes, it is.
All right, so Dave
and Andy.
and Carl.
Whoops.
That's
Andy
Carl
just
and
stepped
Levi.
out and
No, and
Levi's in
Levi.
there. Yeah.
And Levi. Okay, so here's the question. Can you hear me okay over Okia EX?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the question. Actually, there were two questions. So one was the question was, it seems like there's more light scattering in the Sirius view than there is in the main ROV camera view. Why is this so? So that's the first question.
Okay.
And wait, the second one might be easier. Second question is, how much did the D2 cost?
Uh-huh.
Well, the answer to the first question is D2, when we set down, can be as little as a meter away from what we're looking at, or 3 feet. So there's much less water and much fewer particles in the way of our cameras. So then we have less scattering and the colors look more real. On Sirius, though, it's always about 20 meters above D2 or 60 feet up, so there's just a lot more water and a lot more particles in the way. So Sirius will always be kind of more green with worse visibility.
Thank you, pilot. That was Carl McCutcheon. Okay, and
Question number two.
Question number two was, how much did D2 cost? They're all looking at each other like,
It's
I don't
it's
know.
hard to say.
Hard to say.
I don't know an
Right.
official number. It's
Right,
been,
because there was the acquisition cost,
yeah.
but then there was
Yeah,
a
but
lot of
they're
cost that was put
improving it
into
the entire,
upgrades. Right,
all
exactly.
these years
Yeah,
using
we'll ask.
the ROV.
You know,
Yeah.
we'll ask Casey when she comes back.
I have heard, and I'm not sure where this number came
Ballpark.
from, but I've heard around over the years it's added up to about 5 million.
Wow.
That's not any sort of official number. Maybe Casey has a better one.
Okay, and is that D2 and Sirius?
Yes, I think
Okay,
the whole
so
system.
that's a whole system.
Yeah.
I was just scribbling some notes about the location we got the rock from, but as I took a quick peek at the screen while I was doing that, I saw
You guys thinking
a
about
big
a move yet?
furrow
Yeah,
in
we're
the
ready for a 30.
in the sediment. It looks like
I
a
like my heading there,
large
Matt,
rock
so.
rolled down the
320,
slope
what are you
and
330.
made a
330.
gouge.
Is that right in the
Now,
center
what
of my
is
screen
that
here?
little orange thing over on the left? Is that a critter? Or
I
is
don't
that
know if
just
that's a stain. You
stain
know
on
what,
the rock?
Patty? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
Let's take a look. I think it's staining.
I
Bridge
think
RV
it's a
now.
stained rock too. But then there's a white circular or oblong blob just near
Yeah.
the lasers.
Okay, video. You want to
It
Looking
looks
for
like
another
it
ship
might be
move,
alive.
30 meters, bearing 330
it's a rock.
degrees, decimal
So
2
more
Stained
knots.
Stained rock.
Staining, and I'll pan right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Pan right.
So
I
would that
think
be more like iron staining, or?
That's a good question.
I don't
Tiny
know.
little
You know what I
anemone
keep
down there.
seeing
And there's
is
another rock?
right at the boundary. Are you sure that's a
Cutesy
rock?
anemone
No,
that was
not
by the
sure that
first
it's a rock, but-
I'm not sure if
That's
there's any
very
interest.
oval.
Looks like there's a rock slide there.
There is a rock slide. We are looking at a small rock slide. And some big light-colored rock, maybe. Or could that be a shell? Dare I say
don't
that's
know.
a shell?
I don't know. I
Do you
don't
want
know,
more zoom on
Patty.
that?
I don't either.
Yeah, you can give a little more zoom. I'm going to pirouette around it here.
Pretty
Looks like
sure it's a rock.
Looks like a rock to me.
Pretty sure it's a rock. I don't know. I've seen so much biology on this.
You're starting to
Tradition
see
on
things.
cuts.
You're starting to see things
Yeah.
that are organic.
That's right. Otherwise, I would have
Okay.
said, hey, it's just a rounded pebble.
That's good.
Let's
Okay.
go.
Can go what?
We can move on.
Okay, there was something over. Was there something over to the right?
It could be something on this big boulder to
Yeah,
I
the
thought
right.
there was
I'll
something
take a
over
look
to the
around
right,
the
maybe.
I wouldn't be
Yeah, thanks,
surprised.
Carl.
Wow, this rock almost looks like it has layering
Yeah,
from
looks
upper
like
right
maybe.
to lower left. Certainly has some sort of lineations on its surface, but it also has something stuck to it down on the bottom here. Well, this biology really gets in the way.
Okay, video. Can zoom in.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we're like about, yeah, about here. What,
Something in the back too.
Ooh, look at
That's
this.
Ah,
Delicate.
Hey, Nav, what
couple
time is it?
things. We see a couple things here.
41.
Still has, I can see sclerites poking up
Ship's moving.
between the tentacles. This looks quite
Yeah, it's worse.
similar to some bamboo coral we saw earlier. I'm just guessing.
When you're done with this,
Yeah, very
focus in
similar.
the back there. There's,
This one now
I was
has.
thinking that was
And
Yeah,
you can
yes.
see there's a
No, it
worm
looks-
Yeah,
behind.
yeah.
with
You
its
can say with the tentacles
out.
extended. Yeah.
That's
there
so
it
cool.
goes.
Oh, it's called extended when they're out? Okay.
I thought you were.
Extended.
I thought you were serious. I looked at her and she started laughing. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we're having a good time, Shirley and me.
Wow.
All right.
Oh, look at that boulder.
All set with that watch sleep?
Yes, we are. Thank you, pilot.
Okay. There's a couple shrimp over here. Have we seen these yet?
Depends which ones they are. It
One
depends.
has very long legs.
Yeah, we have seen ones with very long legs, but sometimes on the antennae they have leeches, which is really weird. Do you see any leeches on this guy, Shirley?
My eyes are not that good.
Uh-huh. We'll have to wait for
Actually,
our
they're not good at
videographers.
all.
I had
Staring
no
at these
idea they
screens
were
for 8, 10
deep
hours a
sea.
day, I'm not surprised.
Okay.
I don't see any
video.
leeches. Nice. Nice shrimp, though.
Coming right.
With this incredibly wonderful high-definition video, you can actually see the bifurcations at the feet of the legs of these shrimp. I have never seen that before. It's like little pinchers or something. Not sure, but there is
So right.
a bifurcation.
Yeah. So my spotter.
Oh, our
My
videographer
spotter
sees a
on the right
leech.
here.
There's a
I'm gonna go
tiny
Annie
white
is
hair-like
looking at one.
leech at the tip of the
All the way to the right.
starboard
Go
antenna
all the way
on
to the
this.
right.
All the way right and up.
Yeah. Okay.
They
Go
were
right.
startling him a little
Oh,
bit,
it's going to start swimming.
but at the
He's
tip
on top of the
on the right,
So
at the
lower
very
long
tip,
the right
Okay.
antenna.
yeah, the starboard antenna has
Starboard.
a teeny weeny leech.
Oh, yeah.
Starboard
Oh my
antenna.
goodness!
All right.
It's like a eyelash.
Good
going all the
eye,
way back?
Annie.
Yeah, and he has
Annie's
the
our
screen.
spotter. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's really cool. You can actually see the attachment
cool.
there.
Actually, it's
Oh,
pretty yucky.
wow.
It's moving a little. There you
Now,
go.
we've been told by Scott France on shore in Louisiana that there are all sorts of leeches, from freshwater to saltwater, And
Okay, let's go back to
these
the shrimp.
particular kind have
You
been
like the
known
shrimp better than the
to
leech?
attach themselves, just
The
as we're
leech is
seeing.
fascinating.
And by the way, Annie White over here is
Just not as
cutting
visually stunning.
particular spots of the video where we stop and see an animal or some feature, and these get posted to the Okeanos Explorers website. So they will be there for all to see. If there's any creature that you're particularly enamored of, you'll be able to go there and take a look at the video again and eventually be able to download it. I'm not sure if they're downloadable right now, but they will be available to the public for free.
All right. There's the Leeches.
Oh, thank you, Pilot. Anytime you're ready, we can go
All
on.
right.
We're clear. Thank you, Pilot.
That was
Thank you.
fun.
Nice job.
That's the
You too.
smallest leech
Looks
we've
like-
seen so far.
Looks like Sirius is moving.
Yeah,
so
I'm on the move.
I'll head 330 up and over this rock.
So our navigator is calling up to the bridge to ask the ship to move up the slope, and that will help draw the Sirius vehicle up above the D2 remotely operated vehicle to give D2 a little bit more slack on that 30-meter cable that goes between the ROV and the
Now
Sirius
please zoom
vehicle.
my sonar.
You
out
can see that cable
to
in
20, I
the
guess.
central of the 3 feeds that you have,
Thank you.
and frequently we'll use
There's some
that
steep mud.
image just to get an idea of what the surrounding terrain looks like if we're settled on the bottom and doing something, looking at an animal or looking at some structures.
Okay, so Carl gave a really good explanation before about scattering and why we see different light scattering from the Sirius than we do from the Deep Discover. So you were not on OKEX. They heard you.
sorry.
They heard you. It was weak, but they could hear you. But anyway, but I have a follow-up question to that, and that is, how do you decrease the scattering? Is it with a really clear, perfect lens, or is it with software image processing, or a combination of both?
Well, I do know one way that we help with the scattering, and that's to spread the lights out as far away from the camera as possible, kind of like the fog lights on a car are down low near the ground, as far from the driver's eyes as possible, because then there's less light reflected back at your eyes. So we have all of our lights on swing arms, or not all, we have about half the lights on swing arms, so they actually fold out to get as far away from the camera as possible and illuminate everything from the sides and top.
Thank you. Thanks, Carl.
You're welcome. Any interest in this? I think
Take a closer
brittle
look
star?
at the,
Oh, is that a
brittle
sea
star.
star?
Brittle star. Might be a brittle
Brittle
star.
you think, huh? Oh, it's moving. Oh, yes, it's a brittle star.
Look at that. You can see it kind of like
It's grabbing, grabbing its arms and moving up. Grabbing and moving up.
do it together.
Grabbing and moving up.
Hey, Nav, when did that
Grabbing and
ship
moving up.
end?
Okay, video.
46.
4-6?
Yep.
We're getting
Copy that.
silly.
I
man.
know. I know. That's going to come back to
It'll
bite
haunt
us. It's going to come back to bite us, I
Video,
can tell
you're
you.
free to zoom. Hopefully he'll move again.
We've been impressed by how fast some of these can move across the seafloor if they get startled.
Okay, see now in this one we can see that kind of movement of that tube,
Excellent.
kind of like moving across the bottom.
Very
So,
good.
oh, wait. Yeah,
Look how he digs
So cool.
into the sediment,
so,
pull himself up, and is stretching out that top tentacle arm, to find out what's in front of him, I guess.
I was trying to lead him, but I don't know if he'll move again.
This is a real steep slope, folks,
Yes,
so
think
this
about
brittle
it for a
star really
while.
has to dig in with those two upper arms into the sediment to pull himself up the slope. Wow, Shirley, on the right,
Whenever you're clear,
those
video.
little tiny round circular things, I can actually
He's
see.
thinking about
This
it.
is incredible video. some spiraling in the tests of the
Yeah.
foraminifera.
It'll be really helpful for the experts who are interested in these brittle stars. In fact, any of the organisms that we've been imaging, to get some, outstanding details on their external morphology, and in some cases for the translucent organisms, the internal as well. Anatomy and morphology.
I'll get out ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
You like your heading, co-pilot?
I still like it as far as sonar is concerned. But
The Swatling says bipedal locomotion in a non-bipedal animal.
That's
Nice,
true.
for sure.
Yeah. This little outcrop that's on sort of the center of the screen that we've been following, down a little lower on the slope, I was able to look at the face of this little scarp, and I could see some layering in
I
it.
think
It's
330
very
is still
likely
gonna be
that this
our
is just indurated sediment from part of the talus pile at the base of this fault
Whenever I go to
wall.
starboard, the mud comes off that rock.
But these angular blocks that we're looking at now, these probably are similar to the sample we just took. And Bob Stern has been suggesting these may be igneous rocks, which would be great if we could actually get some igneous rocks or volcanic rocks from this part of the forearc. We're about 120 kilometers west of the trench axis.
So I'm looking at the clock. Let's see, 1 o'clock. We have about
How much time?
2.5 hours.
We're good for the next
Okay.
move.
I think we might have about 2.5 hours left. Wait,
So we need
Yeah,
to
2.5 hours.
kind of
2.5 hours, yeah.
climb
About
up the
2.5
wall a bit
hours
more.
left, I think.
And we're at 24, 27 meters. The top of this is 1942.
Yeah, 2.5 hours. That's assuming we make it to 2,000 meters of elevation. If we don't make it quite that far, then we have to come
That's
off
okay.
maybe 10, 20 minutes earlier than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nav. That is
zoom
likely
video?
not to be a
and we're ready
problem.
for that move, Nav.
Part
Okay,
of
30 meters sound good?
part
Yeah,
of oh, wait a
330.
minute, we've got a tube up here.
Cool.
Tube of what?
Interesting.
Tubo sponge?
Yeah, looks
that
like.
a
Looks
tuba
like the
Dead sponge.
skeleton.
Bridge, ROV
Yeah,
now.
skeleton of a dead sponge.
Okay, not all that.
Ready for
And so what
another
you're
ship move,
looking
same
at
as
there
last.
are the
30
spicules
meters,
that
Yeah.
that are,
330
yeah,
degrees,
fused
decimal
together.
2 knots.
Make the body.
I think Chris was talking about earlier a dictyanine or dictyanine framework,
Okay,
and I
go on.
think that's what this is. Kind of. Oh yeah, there was something
Cool.
tiny on that rock
That's
also.
gonna make it to the highlights.
No, probably not.
There was a the same one we saw.
I'm trying to figure it out, actually.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what it
Maybe
was
if
or
they're
not.
going to get a
Yeah.
closer look, that'll help.
Oh, you want a closer?
There might be something swimming to the right.
Yeah,
just
it looked
to
like
the
there
right of
was.
the frame.
Are you sure?
Yeah, there might be something.
I'll never get to the top.
Yeah.
Do you want a
Yeah.
closer look at the dead sponge, or
Uh,
I bet there's a live one up ahead.
okay, keep going.
Yeah,
Keep going.
I agree with you, Carl.
Unless he was the last of his kind.
There's something swimming there. Look at that.
Yeah.
We have
Fish.
seen live ones of that particular sort
Ready?
in other
yes.
dives.
Go in. I'll keep creeping
There
closer.
is a fish.
Roger.
And our Bruce Mundy may be calling in any second, as soon as he sees it. He has a bit of a delay, but this is one of our fish experts
You come out a little more video
from
while
the
I creep
Expedition Control
Hold it
Center
in. Look a little better.
in Hawaii at the Inouye Regional Center on Ford Island in Pearl Harbor.
Okay, now you can go in.
Okay, so I finally see it. This is Bruce. This is another one of the cusk eels. As they often do, it's turning away from the ROV, so not giving us a good look at the head. My suspicion is that this is another one of the Basozetus species. I may change my mind if it turns and we get a better look at it. These are the cusk eels that have a very rounded head and relatively small eyes, and often tend to be up in the water a little bit away from the bottom. This one's closer.
A little more. Just
There are several species. Yep, this does have a small eye and that long tapering body. So this is a cusk eel in the genus Basozetus. The elongate body that a lot of these fish have is useful in this deep sea environment for several different reasons. It gives them a eel-like swimming motion that uses relatively little energy compared to the standard way that fish swim by wagging the tail and moving fast, because energy is at a premium in the deep sea environment. It also increases the length of the lateral line, the line of vibration sensing organs along the body, because these fish aren't using vision as their primary sense. They're relying more on sensing vibrations and pressure waves in the water to tell if they're predators or other animals. Feet on the bottom, because by tilting the body slightly, the eel-like swimming tends to drive the body down and enable the fish to stay closer to the bottom. Now you can see that this, I could see on my leg, that the fish has elongate fin rays on the bottom, just behind the head. Those have a sensory function too. So I suspect what's happened here toward the end was that the fish sensed the movement, the vibration and pressure wave from the ROV, and it decided to take off because it's going, oh my gosh, there's a huge predator coming and I've got to get out of here.
Right. As the ROV pans back and forth across the slope, we do get a good sense of how steep this slope is, and it looks more like a 45-degree angle or so now.
Yeah, it's almost
getting up there. On our bathymetry data, we do see more gentle slope on about the bottom half of the wall that we are diving on today. So it's not too surprising to continue to see talus on the seafloor, material that has fallen off the higher portions of the slope. The fine sediment that you see covers up some of these rocks. That suggests that those particular rocks have been sitting on the seafloor for quite a while. The sedimentation rate in this part of the forearc might be as much as 3 kilograms per cubic, what is it, cubic centimeter, I believe. Let me double check that, per million years. This is a bivalve shell.
It did look interesting.
Shirley, is this a bivalve shell? Partially buried in the sediment?
I have no idea.
That flat top at the front, and then a nice curve.
Looks like a styrofoam cup to me.
You think?
No, it's not. It's not.
Looks almost sponge-like.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Not buried in the sediment.
Looks like a pecten shell to me. But.
Okay, whenever you're done video.
All right. Scallop shell. Les Watling says it's a scallop. Okay, that's pretty close. I mean, I got pretty close.
You did?
When was that move over?
Oh, but are we going to find just bunches of them up there on the slope?
We'll never know if we don't get up there.
We keep finding fascinating things on the slope. Never get to the wall.
Now, if we zoom out a bit on head back, I want to see what's coming up. It does get a little steeper up there. How tight are those contours up in the yellow?
The tightest, closest contours, the steepest terrain. I see. Let's see here. So 50 meters up, 30 meters run.
Oh, wow. That's pretty steep.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what that branch is.
Do a quick zoom here video.
Looks like another
another
bamboo coral, yeah.
Well, as we know, they are very common here.
Same one as before?
Yes.
Yeah. One of at least the two different species that we've seen.
Now, isn't it?
My sonar is
Holothurian, yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole
Our spotter
to the right. To
the other right.
Oh, to the right.
Yeah.
The other right.
Yeah, that's okay. I was doing that last week.
Oh, that's a big one.
Sure is.
Should we get a zoom on this one?
Oh, yes, please, but really fast. I love
We've got
holothurians.
some huge holothurian fans.
Okay, I guess after this zoom, we'll call in another move. How long ago did the ship stop?
So probably about 20 centimeters long, I think, maybe?
Yeah, yeah. Those red
Sirius is
dots are
probably
10
still moving.
centimeters